Introducing McDonald's Cards. Over £4 million in cash prizes and free food in every pack.
There is a discussion to be had about how we respond to Donald Trump. Is he just trying to wind the world up, to create so much astonishment, so much gape that we can't look away? In which case, should we not just try to ignore him? But on the other hand, if we don't react to the provocations of arguably the most powerful man in the world, aren't we normalising what he says? Aren't we, in a sense, folding and passively accepting what ought to be unacceptable? All of this was going through my head this sunny morning when I saw his latest, and I would say blasphemous and grotesque posting. It's an AI-generated self-portrait of the American president as Jesus Christ, laying hands on a sick or perhaps dead man to cure or raise him, surrounded by an adoring woman praying, a nurse admiring soldiers, and with eagles and angels and fighters in the sky above. I can remember people saying of Tony Blair when he was at his height, he thinks he's Jesus Christ, or he thinks he can walk on water. It was meant as a kind of joke. But now Trump is really making the comparison. This is a man who leads a political movement which thinks of itself as overwhelmingly Christian. Shortly before we came on air, he deleted the image, either because his backers were so furious with him, or because, less likely, even he had thought he'd gone too far. It was all part of his latest argument with the Pope over the Iran war. First of all, here is the US President standing outside Air Force One.
I'm not a big fan of Pope Leo. He's a very liberal person, and he's a man that doesn't believe in stopping crime. He's a man that doesn't think that we should be toying with a country that wants a nuclear weapon so they can blow up the world. So I'm not a fan of Pope Leo.
Pope Leo responded by saying he wasn't afraid of Trump.
I do not look at my role as being politician. I don't want to get into a debate with him. I don't think that the message of the gospel is meant to be abused in the way that some people are doing. And I will continue to speak out loudly against war, looking to promote peace, promoting dialogue and multilateral relationships among the states, to look for just solutions to problems. Too many people are suffering in the world today. Too many innocent people are being killed. And I think someone has to stand up.
Now, how has Trump's Jesus post gone down in Washington and indeed amongst MAGA's Catholic supporters? Our Washington correspondent, Simon Marks, is here to talk about that. Simon, I mean, it strikes me that the Vice President, J.D. Vance, is a very fervent Catholic himself. How has this gone down?
And Vice President J.D. Vance is writing a second autobiography, Andrew, about his conversion to Catholicism. So the comments about the Pope, of course, have created all sorts of difficulty for President Trump, coupled with the furious reaction of his own Make America Great Again supporters on his own Truth Social platform to that now deleted posting of Trump depicted as Jesus. But take a listen to what the president has said about his deletion of that posting at the White House just within the last few minutes.
Do you have any questions?
Mr. President, did you post that picture of yourself depicted as Jesus Christ?
Well, it wasn't depicted. It was me. I did post it, and I thought it was me as the doctor, and it had to do with Red Cross as a Red Cross worker there, which we support. And only the fake news could come up with that one. So I just heard about it, and I said, how did they come up with that? It's supposed to be me as a doctor making people better, and I do make people better. I make people a lot better. As an example, the 11,000, I understand your husband's going through treatment.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
He's going through some very serious cancer treatment, so
yes, sir.
This goes a long way.
Yes, sir, it sure does.
I did post it, and I thought it was me as a doctor, is the president's version of events concerning an image that doesn't make him look anything like a doctor and absolutely makes him look like a savior, which is precisely why so many members of his own Truth Social following have been tweeting back at him a meme that says, Jesus is my savior, Trump is my president, drawing a distinction between the two. But the president backing down, I think many people will find that explanation by him absolutely laughable.
It's hilarious, absolutely hilarious. Not many doctors have kind of fire and exocets.
Many people will find that explanation by him absolutely laughable.
It's hilarious, absolutely hilarious. Not many doctors have kind of fire and exocets pouring out of their palms that I recall. So I guess the more serious question here is whether there is a growing division inside the MAGA movement about the way Trump has been behaving recently.
Yeah, I think there's no question about it. And we're hearing that from prominent MAGA influencers. And this is a real problem for the president's defenders. When you've got allies of his, former Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, former Fox News personality Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, the MAGA influencer, all now raising questions about his own mental cognitive state, with Marjorie Taylor Greene saying, I think he's gone insane. I mean, this is being fueled by the imagery of him now raising questions about his own mental cognitive state, with Marjorie Taylor Greene saying, I think he's gone insane. I mean, this is being fueled by the imagery of him as Jesus, the attack on the Pope. We saw the Pope today saying that he has no fear of the Trump administration. Pope Leo XIV, the first American Pope, who under other circumstances might have played a big role in celebrating this country's 250th birthday this year, but the Vatican has already announced he will not be setting foot on American soil during 2026. And by the way, Andrew, that attack on the Pope completely undercut all of Donald Trump's top lieutenants who had gone to the mat for the last week, denying there were rifts between the White House and the Vatican, denying that the ambassador from the Holy See had been carpeted by Pentagon officials within the last 10 days for his criticism of the war in Iraq, and even had been threatened with the creation of an Avignon papacy, an alternative papacy by the Trump administration.
What days, Simon.
An amazing home you have. I wonder what it's worth.
Oh dear. If you want to know the value of your home, or theirs, just ask Zoopla.
Paid, free, paid, free, paid, free, paid, free.
An uncharacteristic move by President Trump. After significant blowback from both the left and the right, he's now deleted this AI-generated post depicting himself as Jesus. But according to him, that isn't the likeness of Jesus, and he's surprised that anyone would think otherwise.
I just heard about it, and I said, how did they come up with that? It's supposed to be me as a doctor making people better.
But tonight, Vice President J.D. Vance had a different explanation. He said Trump is just trying to be funny.
Right. I think the president was posting a joke, and of course he took it down because he recognized that a lot of people weren't understanding his humor in that case.
Father Edward Beck is here with us at the table. Father Beck, is this a funny joke? It seems like most people didn't take it that way.
Well, I think rightly so. What doctor have you ever seen with light rays coming out of his hands to heal someone, and rays from heaven coming down, blessing him in red and white garments? I mean, the president, I think, is being disingenuous, quite frankly, by saying he thinks it was a doctor's image he was posting. There's no Red Cross image in the photograph. There's an image of a nurse in a blue uniform, but nothing about the Red Cross. So I just think all of his comments did not follow what everybody else saw. And for J.D. Vance to say it was simply him being humorous, I think, well, which was it? If he was trying to be humorous, most people didn't get it. So basically, we're blaming people for not getting his humor and the liberal media for not getting it. I just think you always put the blame somewhere else, but why not just say, look, I made a mistake. I posted the wrong thing. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have done it. I just think that would be more reasonable.
Because he deleted it, but then lied about it?
That's not who he is. I mean, I think we have to get to the point where we're like, when are the lies enough lies? When do the people of America who support this man say, this is enough lies? Like, quite clearly, everyone who's ever dressed up for Halloween knows if you're a doctor, you put on a white coat and a stethoscope. Like, that's the doctor costume, not the Jesus costume, which is what Donald Trump put himself out being. And it's putting himself in the place of God, not with God, in the place of God. I think the bigger issue here is that Trump's behavior from the whole week is that he's not mentally fit to be in this position right now. He threatened 90 million people with instantaneous death. He's terrorizing the world. He's ruining the economy. He's basically said we're going to get rid of a 6,000-year-old civilization. And then he went to an Ultimate Fighting Championship game to wave at people, right? Like, we can't pretend that this is okay, that America is the good guy in this situation. It's no longer even pretending that we represent freedom and justice or democracy in the world when we have this one man with unquestioned, unchecked power acting however he wants, and then we try and make excuses for it after the fact. It's too much, and we have to stop.
So, Lee is not the only person describing Trump's behavior recently as erratic. And the Times put it all together in a piece that says Trump's erratic behavior and extreme comments revive mental health debate as the former president threatens to wipe out Iran, attacks the Pope. Even some former allies and advisors are questioning whether he's grown increasingly unbalanced, describing him as lunatic and clearly insane. And look, let's pretend that
the overnight defeat of Viktor Orban, the right-wing leader of Hungary, for the past 20 years is being hailed as a victory for the EU and for Ukraine.
Think regime change meets World Cup victory. That was the vibe on the streets of Budapest on a night to remember.
Welcome to the new Hungary!
Orban is gone. For the winners, a festival of emotions uncorked. And for the losers, a meagre serving of emotions repressed. Incredulous that after 16 years in solid power, their champion, Viktor Orban, could lose, and lose big.
This is a very surprise.
We are very sad. This is terrible.
Unlike his superfan Donald Trump, Orban was gracious enough to concede and to do so early.
A választási eredmény számunkra fájdalmas.
The election results are painful for us, but clear. We were not given the responsibility or the opportunity to govern. I congratulated the winning party.
Everyone was feverishly checking their phones to get the latest and suspend disbelief.
It's happening right now.
It's happening right now. That's it. Look at those numbers. Yes. So he's getting a supermajority.
Yes, definitely.
That's a big deal. The supermajority matters because that's what will allow the ruling TISA party to govern effectively and undo some of the constitutional changes that have allowed Orban to capture the Hungarian state. Most of the people here in the square in front of the parliament at this techno celebration probably don't know anything other than government by Viktor Orban. And they didn't quite believe that he could be defeated.
I am very much hoping so, that with this, we can show the world that change is possible.
Outside Hungary as well, in America, in France, in Germany?
Very much hope so. I'm hoping we are igniting a spark in the whole world.
Is this a signal to Marine Le Pen in France and Donald Trump in America as well?
Definitely Trump. I think it's a big message to Trump at this point.
And what's the message to Trump?
We're sick of this shit. We need change.
Amidst the euphoria, it's worth remembering the lessons of Orban's defeat. The culture wars can't win you elections if the economy keeps shrinking and corruption is rife.
Only on Fox 11, a young woman's cry for help, a shocking arrest, and a family's fight for justice. Tonight, why her loved ones say they won't stop until her voice is heard.
Gina Silva.
We've been messaging for months, this man and I.
Aero Milk Chocolate Mousse. Aero, feel the bubbles melt.
Chilling new Ring camera footage shows the moment a man dressed in black demands to enter a private residence in Fairfield, California.
Open the door now.
In the
And now the details on the investigation into the death of Ashley Robinson. Her family is demanding answers after the influencer from South Jersey was found dead during a trip to Africa where she had just been engaged. Action News reporter Cheyenne Corinne joining us live in the Satellite Center with more on this heartbreaking story. Cheyenne.
Alicia, well, Ashley Robinson, she actually was raised locally in South Jersey, and now her death in Zanzibar is making headlines across the world. Well, today we spoke to her family in Delaware, who say they aren't getting answers from her fiance or officials in Tanzania about what happened to her.
Uncertainty, mystery, anger, sadness. It's like a part of me has been taken away.
On April 5th, influencer Ashley Robinson, who goes by Ashley Janae on social media, was celebrating her 31st birthday in Zanzibar, Tanzania. She was on the vacation with her boyfriend of 1 year, who popped the question just 2 days before.
We believe that they were in love. We believe that their relationship was genuine.
Ashley's mother says she never would have expected that less than a week later, her daughter would be dead. On April 8th, she says Ashley called, saying she and her fiance got into an argument and were moved to separate rooms. The next day, she received another call, this time from her fiance.
He told me that Ashley did something to herself and that she was being taken to the hospital. I said, what happened when? And he told me it had been 11 hours prior.
Hours later, the luxury hotel the couple was staying at called saying Ashley passed away. According to the hospital's medical report, Ashley had an unidentified mark around her neck. They wrote, quote, according to the husband, he found she hanged herself on the door with several question marks.
Sometime Jill went back to the room with security, and that's how they found her.
Ashley was also taken to a second hospital who listed her cause of death as cerebral hypoxia by strangulation and suffocation.
She's never done anything that would ever lead me to believe that she would do something to harm herself.
She was not just going to be discarded and forgotten about.
And the family, as you just heard, they are just desperate for information. They tell us that they are requesting surveillance footage from the resort. They also say that they have contacted police, the consulate, and embassy and have not heard back. Now, Action News, we also tried to contact Ashley's fiance, and we also did not get a response. The family says their next steps are going to Zanzibar themselves to try to get answers. We're live in the Satellite Center. Cheyenne Corinne, Channel 6. Action News, Rick.